jelly rolls and Bargello. What a great combination. And Karen Hellaby has got this new book out which combines both of those. All of the quilts in the book are using jelly rolls. They come in as various sizes. Now what I mean by that is the number of strips in the jelly roll, because all the strips are 2.5 inches wide. And this little cushion in front of me is taken from Karen's book here on page 46. It is inspired by hers, and I pretty much copied it because I loved it. Black and white and grey. So it uses an 8-strip set. So when I purchased mine, I had a 10-strip set, so I had to choose 8 from them, select 8. So these were the, this was my jelly roll. And we've got, as I said, greys, black and white. The jelly roll wasn't necessarily in this order, but I wanted it to be the same as the picture. So I'm going to just show you, I've cut these off so that I could play with the colours. What you need to remember is on this 8 strip that this dark one is your feature. It doesn't actually feature up here, but it does feature to here. So in that case, it needs to be in position 5 on here. If you do it in a slightly different place, you will find it won't, the way Bargello works is that the fabrics stay in the same sequence, but you'll find yourself unpicking more than you should. So do pay attention that if you want this to be up here, it is in position 5. So then this is in her book, so you can follow it. So I sewed the strips together in this order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got the grey one actually here. This is here. This was here and this is here. So actually I've travelled with them in the wrong sequence, but that's all right. So here, so this was the order that I sewed them in. So here we have the strips. So you are going to sew all 8 together and sew them then together in a cylinder. I pressed the seams all in one direction and they lie nice and flat. I'm just double checking that I have got this in the right order. Actually, I don't think I have, but never mind. You'll get the idea. This actually is in the wrong place. I can see it should be here, but the sequence is wrong. So pay attention, basically. You're going to have 8. They will lie nice and flat. You can iron them this way and think. So what we're going to do now is we are going to cut these apart. Now I'm not going to, you've got what to cut apart is listed really clearly on Karen's instructions, but I'm going to cut you this piece and these two so that you can go through the sequence, because we're going to have a cylinder of fabric. We're going to cut, I'm going to give myself a straight edge, and in order to do that I'm going to put one of these lines of my ruler on one of the middle bits of the sewing so I can give myself a nice straight edge. Just pick that up and turn it round. Now this middle one here is the thinnest on here, so that is cut at 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to cut that at 3/4 of an inch. Look how diddy that is, 3/4 of an inch. So that comes up here. So that's going to be that middle one there. And these two, because I done, are either side of it, so they are cut at 1 inch. So I can cut that again, so that's 1 inch. And then we're going to cut another one. Now, if I was cutting more than 3 pieces, I would come back and I would just double check that this line is still good, because sometimes you need to shave it. I'm exaggerating now, but if you need to shave it for this to stay straight to your sewing, then it's important that you do exactly that. Shave it, otherwise you're going to end up with not a nice section to play with. You turn these inside out and you make them like the picture. So this one and this one are the 1 inch. You can see they're in the same order as each other. And what I do is I make them the same as each other. So this needs to live here, because I have one here. This lives here. This one lives here. And this is going to have this one up at the top. Turn them inside out. The sequence has got to stay the same. You can't do anything about that. It is what it is. So that one comes here. So we're going to undo that here. So that lives on here like this. Good. It's only 3/4 of an inch, so it undid really easily. Now, that's probably because I didn't make my stitching shorter than usual. I usually stitch at 2.5. In order for this not to unravel like that, you should take your stitching so that it's down to about 2, because that will stop me being able to do that, because really you should be using an unpicker. But for the purposes of my demonstration, that's here. So you can see this one lives here and this one lives here. When we get to this section, I would make them the same. To put that one on there. This very dark one moves down one. So if you make them the same and kind of move them down here, then you would unravel them so that this one is at the bottom and that one is then up at the top. So you just follow current instructions. You cut the cylinders, undo them, lay them out so that they are in the picture that you want, and you just sew them together. You are matching the seams, and it's as easy as that. The pattern happens because of where you undo them. It's the same cylinder method that we use for Trip Around the World, but this is a very sweet little project, which is a cushion that you can do from a very small strip roll. So just 8. Remember, it's light and dark, and to get the movement, then it's partly done by the size of your strips, but mostly done because you move the fabrics up one or down one. So I hope you'll enjoy making your Jelly Roll Bargello quilt.